Greetings and welcome back to Workforce Education 560, Historical and Philosophical Foundations of Workforce Education. I'm Dr. Harvey and I want to introduce you to our first mini lecture. The mini lectures in this course are designed to just provide you with talking points, key information, food for thought as we move forward with content in the class. And so without further ado, I want to get started with the first mini lecture. Thanks. There are some critical components of workforce education that are important for the professional to understand, and that's really why we have Workforce Education 560 as an important part of the Workforce Education and Development program here at Penn State University. Three underarching characteristics that are important for professionals to understand in our field are the historical context that guides current practice. Workforce Education and Development is an age-old, age-honored profession. It has been evolving for years, and American history, as other histories in other countries, I'm sure, speak to the underpinnings of workforce education and development. But if you go back to medieval times and you take a look at the development of skills trade and the craftsmen's guilds, in essence, those were early on workforce ed programs that came up through the apprenticeship program, the evolution of workforce development through vocational training in American public schools to the modern day CTE and HRD philosophies and aspects of workforce education. So it's important to understand our historical roots as we move forward in current practice and guiding future practice in our profession. Also, it's important to understand the philosophical basis for practice in our field. The philosophical basis basically are looking at work as it relates to industry and tying that to education and economics. The aspects of the philosophical pieces and the evolution of philosophies that shape practice have been important, but they are guided primarily by education, and they are guided very much by economic issues. There are also ethical standards that are used to evaluate our professionalism in practice, and those originate with where practice occurs. And so in workforce education and development, frequently education through career and technical education in the public school system and occupational skills programs at the pre-baccalaureate 2-year associate's degree community college area, education is guided at all levels by ethical standards and ethical practice that can be used to evaluate professional performance and professional engagement. The same holds true for business and industry. If you look at SHRM credentialing, you look at other ethical standards that are in the HRD, ODC area in business and industry, it's important to understand these standards that basically are used to evaluate what we do in the field, but also guide what we do in the field as well. Workforce education, simply stated by Gray and Herr, is that form of pedagogy that is provided to the pre-baccalaureate level by education institutions, by private business and industry, or by government-sponsored community-based organizations, where the objective is to increase individual opportunity in the labor market or to solve human performance problems in the workplace. In a nutshell, this is what, in essence, workforce education is all about. It is provided by education, it's provided by business and industry, it's provided by government training services, it's community-based, and it's designed to help individuals become more competitive in the labor market and lead to career advantage for them. Labor market advantage, as Ken Gray used to say. And it also is designed to help take a look at business and industry in solving performance problems so that business and industry can be more productive, can be more efficient, and can be more effective. In essence, those are the key pieces of workforce education and development. As we move on, really workforce ed has a dual mission, and the dual mission is exactly this: to provide individual opportunity to make students more competitive in the labor market, allowing them to pursue personal and career goals. The issues with this is that we want in education for students to have the opportunity to gain the skills that are going to help them to become more competitive in jobs that have skill-based requirements that are going to be career-oriented so that they can meet their dreams. The American dream aligns with education and educational opportunity here. The other piece is to make the nation economically strong in making sure that firms are more internationally or globally competitive. And this is done by solving human performance problems of those who are currently employed in business and industry today. These are training initiatives. These are retraining initiatives. These are opportunities for people to advance in their careers based on what business and industry need to do within the organization and beyond the organization, typically shaped by, and we'll talk about this more, 5 very specific drivers in workforce education. One of those is globalization. Another of those is technology. And so we see in the dual mission, workforce education is an educational initiative, but it also is a business and industry initiative. And if you look at the class members in workforce education in our program, typically what we see at the doctoral level and what we see at the master's level are folks are coming to us in workforce education and development from education or from business and industry. And so this is kind of a dual mission that our profession serves, and it's important to understand the dual mission and the importance of both. There are a variety of workforce education ideologies that have historically and currently influenced the field. Historically, because many of these have long roots, if you will, in workforce education and development, but they still have legitimate implications and applications in relationship to the field in current practice and in its evolving practice. Social Darwinism, which is the philosophy of survival of the fittest, has been one of those elements. And basically, in looking at social Darwinism and the philosophy of survival of the fittest, it's those that are most fit survive in relationship to workforce education and development, and the economic and the employment activities of business and industry in a nation's economy. Workforce education has addressed this through educational opportunities, and a great example of looking at survival of the fittest and workforce education's response to that has been the Smith-Hughes Act of 1917, and we'll talk more about that as we look at the historical foundations in a future mini lecture. But the Smith-Hughes Act of 1917 took a look at the issue of youth in America and the educational system in America, and it actually involved including vocational training so that young people in America coming through the educational system could be competitive, could have that survival of the fittest background in taking a look at employment opportunities and meeting the needs of business and industry. And so we created vocational education, now known as career and technical education, in CTE. So this aspect of survival of the fittest and its influence on both education and business and industry is at the heart of what we do in workforce education. Another important aspect is taking a look at intelligence and kind of the historical thinking that intelligence was in 2 domains: academic through book learning, or technical mechanical through skills development in CTE. The important piece here is to understand that intelligence is multidimensional. And if you look at the work of Howard Gardner in Multiple Intelligences, Gardner would say it goes beyond academic and technical mechanical intelligence, that it includes the issues of the arts and others. The point here is that we need to be thinking about intelligence and how we capitalize on the value of intelligence academically and also from a technical perspective beyond the typical school, college, and career readiness. We need to be thinking of this collectively in the sense that We want to make sure that all students, as the goal of college and career readiness and educational reform speaks to, that students are ready to go to college and be successful in college, typically identified with academics, and that students are able to go successfully into careers and compete in a very competitive skills-based labor market in the 21st century, which would be career ready upon high school graduation. It's important to understand that workforce education has been at the heart of meeting those needs and will continue to be so. Taylorism is another area of ideology that's had an impact in the field. Frederick Taylor was an industrial engineer and worked in industry and management, and it's an approach that takes a look at efficiency and effectiveness in productivity, where you have low unit price and high quality delivered in the most efficient, effective, and productive manner. Taylorism used approaches both in management and also in design to look at efficiency, and it used elements of structuralism. Typically what Taylorism did is it had hierarchical levels of skills performance in relationship to the manufacturing process, where workers on the floor in many cases had great mechanical skills, typically did rote work over time with efficiency and productivity as the push, and didn't have a lot of interaction with the process beyond the skill set that they were required to do. In today's skilled economy, while Taylorism still is an important aspect of work and productivity and efficiency, the levels of learning in relationship to the skill sets that are demanded in jobs require a broader reach for those that are in the workforce. And so as we speak to the issues of a skills gap in the current economy, the skills gap is addressed really through a broader array of developing skills that are demanded within jobs, influenced much so by technology in the workplace, and obviously evolving with the impact of artificial intelligence. So Taylorism, looking at its root cause of efficiency, productivity, and high quality, are still driving workforce education. The aspects, the delivery, and the domains are different and evolving over time. We move from there into progressivism, and progressivism is a philosophical approach to ideology where basically we look at government and the throes of government as being able to have a responsibility and have a role in basically addressing social problems. One of the areas that we can look at here is taking a look at government support of education and government support of training programs. And again, the philosophy is that government in progressivism does have a role and does have a responsibility in helping the broader society to adjust and adapt and solve key problems. So if you're looking at unemployment, and you're looking at a skills gap, the progressive movement would say that government's role is to provide education and training that support individuals to gain the skill sets that are needed in a competitive labor force, and also address the individual skills opportunity of human performance, human capital, so that those individuals can become competitive and can become employed in the labor force. Modernity is another belief structure that has had an impact in relationship to workforce education and development. And in modernity, really the philosophy came out of an evolving, much more complex society, where we take a look at the fact that problems can be solved, and in essence there's an underlying belief that all problems can be solved, and they can be solved with the reliance of basically looking at sciences, basically looking at the field of education, and basically looking at the age-old concept of human ingenuity, and basically through those aspects there's nothing within the modern structure that problems can't be solved using good old ingenuity and basically looking at the sciences and looking at education to find solutions to problems. Interestingly enough, we have a new postmodernism theory that has also had influence in relationship to workforce education and development. And postmodernism kind of springs from the arts and has cultural applications, but beyond that has a broader impact and implications for workforce education and society in general. And basically the upstart of postmodernism is that it focuses in on the deconstructing of issues that were in previous terms thought to be organized through hierarchy and structuralism. We're looking at deconstructing of that and post structures in relationship to post-structural thoughts that look at solutions that are not linear in nature, not hierarchical in nature, and not necessarily predicated on any specific set structure. We look at progressivism, modernism, and the impacts of postmodernism. Those are combining and evolving and have significant application and implication as we move forward with a much more competitive environment for work. And workforce education needs to be on the cutting edge of this. Back to postmodernism for just a moment. Postmodernism examples are chaos theory as you look at your theories paper, and also happenstance theory in relationship to career development and career choice. These aspects in ideologies continue today and will in the future impact where we are and what we're doing concerning workforce education and development, program options and opportunities. From there, we look at workforce education in practice. And I think it's important, again, for me to just come back and revisit the fact that workforce education by its mission speaks to the issue of education, and it speaks to the issue of business and industry. And so as we think about the aspects of workforce education, we think about education, meaning the K-12 school system, the public school system, and specifically high school career and technical education. High school career and technical education are programs that are offered in high schools and in regional career and technical education centers that are occupationally specific. So students who might want to learn about carpentry skills or carpentry trade, students that might want to learn about auto body or auto mechanics, students that might be interested in looking at welding, or students that might be looking at CAD drafting, students that might be interested in the healthcare field, becoming a CNA, or looking at medical assistant, medical technology, students that are interested in cosmetology or early childhood or business banking skills are all program areas where high school career and technical education offers courses that are occupationally specific in nature that provides those skill sets to students at the high school level. And post-secondary CTE is typically offered in the form of a 2-year associate's degree, typically offered in community colleges, and students that have gone on from high school CTE can go on to post-secondary to earn associate's degrees in their area of choice, and those programs are offered through the educational systems. Government employment and training is also offered as an aspect of workforce education. If you look at the Department of Labor offers employment training opportunities and one-stop programs, typically at the state and at the local level. It also, the federal government is involved in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, WIOA, which was a bill passed in 2014. WIOA provides services to retraining efforts and retraining focus. It also provides training opportunities and services for individuals that are disadvantaged and individuals with disabilities. There are a variety of programs that are offered in conjunction with multiple government agencies. WIOA is an example where the Department of Labor takes the lead, but it works with the Department of Health and Human Services, and it works with the Department of Education. it's important to understand that government employment and training opportunities, which are publicly funded entities, align with progressivism, but also provide significant supports in American society. Workforce education is also business and industry based. And when we think about workforce and education and development, which is industry based, large firms have multitudes of HR programs and services that are provided and commit a large level of resources to addressing human performance problems, addressing change, addressing technology, addressing organizational development and change within the workforce in their industry to remain competitive globally and nationally. So large firms have historically provided workforce development in the form of HRD, ODC in HR departments. Smaller firms are challenged with this. Smaller firms typically do have people that are in charge of HR and HR activities, but they don't necessarily, because of their size, have the resources and the vast array of programs that large firms offer. So frequently, smaller firms are looking to government support systems or are going to outsource some of those HR issues, but again, are needing to address those human performance problems, are needing to address competition and evolving change within business so that their workers and their workforce are trained and are efficient in the skills that are required in the firm's commitment to work and the products that they produce. Private sector training also is an outgrowth of World War I and World War II, particularly World War II with the GI Bill and training initiatives. What we saw is a whole host of private sector training and organizations designed to help develop the workforce as America really moved into industrialization in the modern age in the post-World Wars time period. In this particular time period, we saw HRD and ODC programs develop over time. And basically, this was the 1910s through the 1980s. And then in the 1980s forward, the HR profession, professionalism of human resources really has become part and parcel of what workforce education does, as I've mentioned above, in large firms and small firms, and also in the government employment and training opportunities and activities. We've seen in recent terms the issues of organizational development and change and vast resources dedicated to the rapid change in workforce development in business and industry, and talent management, the issues of talent recruitment, talent management, and keeping talent at home, so to speak, have been additional phenomenons that have occurred in workforce education and development and practice in business and industry. So to recap, again, we're coming back to just looking at education and industry. Business and industry have been really the two places where workforce education resides in practice. Philosophical underpinnings, again, when we think about this, we look at least in the United States, the yin and the yang, if you will, of democracy and capitalism. And just very quickly, democracy is predicated on the fact that we have equal opportunity and equal access for our citizens. And in the philosophy of equal opportunity and equal access, kind of the American dream, what we're doing is saying that everybody has the opportunity to be successful in America's economy and in American society. And typically this is done with a philosophy through democracy of a common good and a common welfare for all people, common opportunity, egalitarianism, if you will. Capitalism, on the other hand, is really predicated on, in many cases, philosophy of Taylorism and philosophy of Darwinism. Social Darwinism, in some cases as well, impacts capitalism. The issues here are that capitalism is competitive. Capitalism is designed to be efficient, is designed to be effective, is designed to be productive, and capitalism is predicated on organizational practice, typically governed by structuralism and hierarchy and other influences that produce an opportunity for reward for those people who are productive and successful. Career ladders with opportunities for career development and career development opportunities through career ladder access, moving up the ladder, if you will, by skill sets gained. And also, capitalism rewards those who are successful through pay increases, through job promotions, through roles and responsibilities increases, and really is a meritorious process, if you will. It's important to understand the yin and the yang of democracy and capitalism. They work very, very well together, although they do have some philosophical underpinnings that are not necessarily in alignment. Democracy is looking, in many cases, at providing equal opportunity and at keeping the wealth, if you will, on equalized terms, whereas capitalism is very clear in the fact that reward for wage earning and reward for responsibility is hierarchical, and there is going to be a wage earning structure which does not necessarily in and of itself promote equal wage distribution. So just some interesting pieces to think about as we look at the philosophical issues of capitalism and democracy and its impact and its support, if you will, implications for workforce education. Also, we take a look at the professional and ethical obligations of our field. It's very clear, and Gray and Her point out in no uncertain terms, that there are four key issues here. And one of those is that workforce education is designed to promote learning. It's designed to promote learning at the educational level. It's designed to promote learning at the business and industry level. It also is designed to ensure health and safety of those that we are developing, which is human capital. We want health and safety as we are promoting that learning so that we have work environments and productivity that's underpinned in some of the philosophical pieces that I've talked about. We also are protecting the public trust and the private trust, public and private investment in workforce education with the outcome that is both economic and human capital supportive of taking a look at the economy and labor market needs. So we want public and private trust in the work that we do, and we have an obligation to make sure that we are ensuring the public and private trust in the work that we are endeavoring in workforce education and development. And last but not least, and most importantly, what we're doing, and our name speaks to that, is that we're promoting the transfer of learning. We are helping those learn skill sets that are going to help them through education to be successful in business and industry, and that's important. These are the four talking points that Gray and Her speak to as far as professional and ethical obligations, and they're very important to understand as you move forward with your development as professionals and practitioners in our field. Workforce education in the American dream. We've talked a lot about that. Basically, the U.S. Constitution does not guarantee that everybody's going to be successful. That's a part of democracy that is inherent in what we do. It does allow for the fact that we want equal opportunity and equal access. And this is easily understood by taking a look at the government's involvement in education programs and also in training programs. Equal opportunity to pursue the American dream is what's afforded in the Constitution. And as you take a look at the issues of capitalism and democracy, these are some things to think about. Economic returns and human returns are going to be important. The importance here is that with workforce education and development endeavors, we are looking for economic returns in the sense that our economy becomes stronger, it becomes more productive, it becomes more efficient with market share, particularly in globalization and in technology as it's impacted. Also with human returns, we're looking at the philosophy of human capital, investing in people so that they can be a significant factor in economic return and can be a significant factor in positioning market share for U.S. companies and firms. And we do that through education. We do that through business and industry training opportunities. And last but not least are providing career opportunities. And providing career opportunities really means helping move people towards work. And those career opportunities, the first task is to provide career preparation. And that's done in public schools through CTE, through college and career readiness opportunities. It's done in the educational system, post-secondary level at the community college level. And the focus here is to basically help all people move forward to career preparation. Second task is taking a look at career preparation for those who are disadvantaged. And disadvantaged has a wide array of thought processes. If you look at the Carl D. Perkins Act, the newly reauthorized Perkins 5, they talk about special populations, and special populations has 10 or 12 classes of people that are considered to be those that need special supports. Those individuals with disabilities are an example of those classifications of individuals who would be under the disadvantaged category. Again, workforce education and development, providing equal opportunity and equal access for all, is looking to provide unique support structures for those who are disadvantaged. We'll talk more about that in the Histories mini lecture coming up. And last but not least, it's to provide opportunity for career advancement and for retraining. And this is what happens typically in business and industry. We're looking at retraining opportunities to retrain people so they can come back into the workforce and be competitive and successful. And we're looking at training opportunities that are going to allow people to become really more adept at skill sets and jobs and provide them with a career ladder, which is career advancement, opportunities to move forward in their job. These are the overview elements of the background and talking points that will shape workforce education and development. My classes in fall of 17 and my classes of spring of 18 in workforce education and development came up with an agreed upon mission statement for workforce education and development. And I won't read these to you. These are posted in our Canvas course, but I do want to share with you their definitions of what they believe workforce education and development are. These are the two definitions, and again, as I've said, they are posted in relationship to the materials on Canvas, and these align with some of the things that you will be doing in relationship to your first assignment, that is dealing with the discussion board post number 1, which is identifying what you believe are key concepts and key aspects of workforce education and development and a mission statement. So with that, I welcome you into the class with the first mini lecture. There will be several of these as we move forward, which are just my highlighting some talking points for you from the content and the materials, and you're now having an opportunity to do a deeper dive in relationship to that. Thank you.